Abby Livingston at rollcall.com reports that Republican Representative Gary Miller will retire from Congress this year. Miller's path to re-election was complicated as he faced a crowded primary field of Democrats. Last cycle, Democrats splintered their vote so much in the primary round that Miller and a fellow Republican were allowed to advance to the general, thanks to California's top two jungle primary system. As a result, Miller is rated the most endangered incumbent of the 2014 election cycle.
It has never worked anywhere. It doesn't work. If you want to ruin health care, have the government take it over. Now, the argument is, we'll just have the government compete with the private sector. Think about that. Where does the government get the money? From you, the taxpayers. And the private sector has to charge people to provide health care. There's no way in the world the private sector can compete with government when government is funded by unlimited amounts of money that they extort from you, the working people.
Miller cited family circumstances as the cause for his early retirement. Miller said that he is committed to serving out his term with the same energy and enthusiasm he has always brought to the debate.
I rise to say I absolutely support free market principles. I have no interest in bailing out Wall Street. I think that we need to reduce the size of government, and I believe that government intervention should not occur. But this is not a normal situation. Banks are not lending to banks. And if banks don't lend to banks, the access to credit in the private sector really is going to dry up because they won't lend to each other. They're not going to want to lend to the private sector. Small businesses in this country are starting to hurt now.
Reacting to the news, Republicans suggested that State Assemblyman Kurt Hagman and State Assemblyman Mike Morrell are possible contenders. Roll Call previously rated Miller's re-election as one of the most fascinating this election cycle.
This bill, I will say, is not perfect. But there are not many options we have today, and the last thing we can afford to do is do nothing and let the system start to crumble. Against the will of the American people, this Congress has enacted a $2 trillion takeover of our nation's healthcare system and pushed the nation's debt limit to an astounding $14.2 trillion. The burden of this massive spending falls on the shoulders of the American taxpayer.
You can read more about Miller's retirement and see the full list of members who are not returning at the casualty list at rollcall.com.